2, 1. We should be live again. Welcome back, everyone. I am back with Alistair Unicom. We are talking Megatron 3000, and now we've reached our third and final part about this amazing tournament that I'm very sorry to have missed, where we talk about the top lists and what they did, what was good when you're running all theater selectors.
Exactly. So, like any good trilogy, we've saved
Yes,
the best till last. So,
of course we have.
just think of this as Return of the King from Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
This is the big show.
Yeah, the big battles
Yeah.
and everything coming down to the one final moment.
So,
Right.
should we start with a player called James Hurst?
I think we should because James he came fifth, and let's start from the bottom and work our way up there. I will share my
Yeah.
screen and so that everyone can see what we're doing.
Yep.
Um, right.
So,
So here we go, and he had a No
you able?
Land Beyond the Volga
Yeah. You able to zoom
list.
in? Yeah. So, No Land Beyond the Volga, reinforced platoon, September to November 1942, selected from Campaign Stalingrad.
Nice. There's a
So,
lot of good selectors in that book.
yeah, it
I'm
was a lot
telling
of
you
good
right now.
selectors, and it was a little bit underutilized at the event. But
Mm,
that's people's choices. People will.
yeah, yeah,
I think I've mentioned in previous videos maybe had to select theatre selectors that fitted their model collection at the time.
yeah.
But I'm sure for next year's event we will see some
There, there,
specific armies built for it.
there will be people building an army for this, I'm sure.
Oh, they're out there. But page 138. So I want to read through
Yes, go.
the selector and what James could have taken or had options to take. So he had options on a lieutenant,
Mm,
second or first. These are his required options. Two infantry squads, so Siberians, regular rifle, LMG, SMG, guard squads, veteran squads, Shaftbrat squads, airborne squads, or naval brigade. Huge options there.
Yep.
Uh, for additional HQ, 0 to 1 captain or major, 0 to 1 polytruck, 0 to 1 medic team, 0 to 1 forward artillery observer.
Mm,
Then his infantry squads, 0 to 4, again Siberian rifles, LMGs, SMG squads, guard squads, veteran squads, NKVD, Shaftbrad, scout squads, naval brigade, airborne squads, and 0 to 3 storm group squads, and 0 to 1 assault engineers. So options for engineers, but limited to 0 to 1.
yes.
And the storm group are a new unit that are in uh, the theatre book.
Yeah.
And from memory, they are good at assault and barricades and fortified positions, and
Okay.
they classify you as in the open. Um, we can check on that if required, but
Yeah. We
MMG,
don't need to because he didn't actually pick
do
them.
not take them. Well, we might
No.
have to think about that.
Yeah.
MMG team, HMG team, 0 to 2 sniper teams, and that includes the different sniper detachments that are available in the Stalingrad book.
Yeah.
0 to 1 flamethrower teams, 0 to 2 anti tank teams,
Mm,
but he's limited to anti tank rifle and the tank hunter teams. So
yeah.
no doggies, no, no,
No
no.
doggies. Yeah.
Light, medium, or heavy mortar. Wow, that's interesting. 0 to 1 mortar team, light, medium, or heavy, and then a 0 to 1 light mortar as another separate entry.
Mm,
Interesting. Artillery, 0 to 1 guns. Oh, look, there's some anti-tank guns. Sorry, that's it. There's no actual artillery pieces. There's just anti-tank
just
guns
anti-tank guns.
and anti-aircraft guns. So there's no artillery pieces.
Okay.
0 to 1 armored cars, BA-10, BA-20, BA-64, and then tanks. So 0 to 1 vehicles, T60, T70, T34, OT34, KV1, KV1S, KV8, KV8S,
Yeah.
Tokrav Quad Maxim, and an SU-76I.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's a good spread of
Yeah.
different interesting vehicles here.
But with Stalingrad,
Yeah.
there are theatre selector special rules. So to jump in, no transports.
Okay.
None for anybody. No transports.
That sort of kills off the engineers for me.
Yep. No transports. Off-map battery. So because there are no artillery pieces within Stalingrad historically, everything was all fired from a safe distance away.
Yep.
So what that means is that his or any forward artillery observer selected, they get to fire twice. So in the same way that a American air observer does.
That is good.
Yeah. And then fanatical defense, any Soviet unit can be fanatics at +3 points per model.
Okay.
So it's a really busy selector, but
It is. Yeah.
I'm a fan. Let's find out.
Yes. Well, he has brought 16 order dice, 12 46 points. He has a first lieutenant with 2 infantrymen. He has double naval squads. One of them has 2 riflemen and 9 submachine guns and 1 light machine gun, and the other has 3 riflemen and 9 submachine guns. So, yeah, we'll get back to this, but for me, that light machine gun in one of the units shouldn't be there. He has a medic. He has a forward artillery observer, regular, with 2 extra men. He has a scout squad with 4 rifles and 3 submachine guns. He has an NKVD squad with 4 rifles and 4 submachine guns. And he has another scout squad with 4 rifles and 3 submachine guns. The free rifle squad with all the trimmings, and double sniper team. The standard sniper, 50 points, regulars. He has a flamethrower team, regular. He has double anti-tank rifle teams, regulars. And he has a medium mortar with spotter, regular, and a BA-20 flamethrower. So, yeah, that is what he's bringing. What do you think?
For the record, results-wise, he went draw, win, loss. He got a 5-point draw, a huge win, 9-point win, and then a 4-point loss in his last game, which he played the second top table, which we'll cover later.
So he actually went to the top tables and got knocked down right there.
Yes, he was in deep, which is really great considering his first round was a draw, so he still had the ability to get there.
Well, a huge win in the second round with that how you set up the tournament actually had the potential of pushing you all the way to the top. So that was great.
Okay, so digging into the list, I would leave the officer exactly as he is.
Yeah.
I like that there's 3 infantry models in the unit. I'm more a fan of that now. That's 3 submachine guns. That's extra points for free. And
you're also leaving him as a senior first lieutenant.
Yeah, as is. I think the leadership. I think the leadership to push these squads forward is required, and I really want to believe he's going to be snapped to action. So he needs the first lieutenant to make it worthwhile.
Okay.
I know that you're not a fan.
You're a bigger fan of snap to action than I am, but I've actually seen you use it where it makes sense, and it's just because I don't. So, yeah.
Well, we've covered that in other videos, that there are players that when you see your officer as attacks, you don't use him other than to hide away. Whereas when I buy him, he's a piece that I use. So it's a player's play style, mate.
Yeah, it is.
But also, sorry, no, it's not relevant. The naval squads.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of naval squads myself. But I know what you're going to say. Just take that light machine gun out. He's, he's not required.
He's definitely not required. Yeah.
There's a thing here as well, and I don't know how to balance it out, that naval squads are tough fighter anyway. So to balance out the number of submachine guns, for sure you want to do some extra shooting if you get close, but all you really want to do is put the pins out before you get there and fight, and then you're already a tough fighter. Do you need the submachine guns?
I don't think you do. If you're thinking of naval squads as being something that goes up and charges something, so sort of like a Soviet version of Gurkhas. There's no reason to put submachine guns on them because you have got Top Fighter already. You you might want to consider buying the Fanatic though, but that's a whole nother ball game if you want to do that. But I don't think you need the submachine guns for these. Because they're just there to deliver a few pins, maybe one or two casualties, sort of damage the unit that you want to charge, and then charge it down and kill it in close combat. So I don't think you actually need those submachine guns. I think you can save the points.
I would still take some, but not all.
No.
Or not as many. But again, though, I would not change the naval squads. I would keep them.
Yes, me too. I also quite like the naval squads, both because they're pretty good assault units, but they're also like lovely models quite often.
Yeah, good miniatures.
It's nice not to paint something that's green or brown, right?
Yeah.
The medic is okay, I guess. Forward observer.
He needed to take the forward artillery observer here to get the maximum, like 100 points for 2 shots. Yes,
that is very good. I actually played last week. I played against a list which had 2 of these observers with double shots in it, both of them.
Really?
Yes, I got hit by 4 artillery strikes, and that was it. That was the game. I quit in round 4. I just gave up. It was amazing. So if you can go with this observer and get double shots from him, yes, that makes him worth it. I would say if you're buying 1 artillery observer just for that 1 shot, it's too many points. 100 points is too many for 1 shot, but 2, yes, definitely.
Yes.
The scout squads, I also quite I'm a fan of scout squads, I must admit. I like the behind the enemy lines and scouts rules. I quite like them. It's capability that you're pushing up early.
No, not for me. Not
for you. Okay.
No, not. I mean, this army's got 2 snipers.
Yeah, it does.
So they're going to be moving. They're out in front. 1 scout squad maybe to act as a what's the term? A bit of a sweeper to keep the snipers company.
Yep.
This is where I think he missed a trick. The storm squad groups. I've just went back to re-look at the rules and confirm for myself what they actually are. Page 122. This selector has an option on 0 to 3 of them. 56 points regular, 68 points veteran, 4 men. They come with submachine guns. Then you can add, obviously, additional men to that. But it's the rule, armed to the teeth, blah, 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 blah. Whenever this unit initiates close quarters combat with an enemy unit, the enemy cannot take advantage of the defensive position rules. Storm groups always attack first in any close combat they initiate.
Nice.
I would have had 1 or 2 of these squads roaming around.
Especially because so many of his units are actually geared up for close combat anyway.
Yeah.
Why not take them? Because they're really extra good. They encourage the enemy to stay out of terrain, and then you charge them anyway. I mean, they're really good. Yeah.
That's what's really nice about this theater selector is that it's very thematic.
Yeah.
And it's close combat orientated, and
it is
bloody and in your face, and that's what Stalingrad was. And I think that's one of the scout squads. 107 points veteran. You could have swapped that out and got 2 little regular storm groups, or 1 really big one.
Yeah, you could also have cut out the some of the extra men for the artillery observer, and then just use some of the points to maybe take the NKVD squad and make that a storm group as well.
Yeah. So I think that's where a trick was missed, sadly. But the Free Rifle Squad, there's another really good assault unit, because they'll have green.
Yeah.
And the
12 men are just they're pretty good.
Yeah. There's one thing that is missing from here though. There's no commissar.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was a 0-1
But
polytruck. I think that's actually better.
he's already at 16 order dice. He doesn't really need to buy that Commissar.
Yeah, but to keep things moving.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, actually, here's the other thing though. Inspiring rhetoric. Aside from watching political disloyalty, blah blah blah, inexperienced squads within 6 inches of the polytruck don't suffer -1 to hit for being inexperienced.
Yeah.
If you need to shoot with them.
Yeah.
But what the
You only have one inexperienced unit though.
Yeah, look, that's a fair call.
Yeah. Double sniper teams, I rather like this. It really dominates the sniper game. The flamethrower, I'm not a fan of in this list, especially because you don't have the transport for it. So it sticks in one place and it's not really a threat. The anti-tank rifles. I am not a huge fan of anti-tank rifles, but this list really needs more anti-tank capabilities, so I'm guessing you're going to have to take something anyway, because they're very light on anti-tank, aren't they?
Yep, and the options were limited as they would have been in Stalingrad. So there's not much else I can say about that. I think 2 AT rifles is fine.
Yeah.
And knowing that there's 2 snipers on Overwatch taking care of you and taking out the other enemy snipers, and remembering as well that because it's a single theater selector format, the chances of you bumping into multiple snipers, it's not going to be that common.
No.
You know, for sure. I know in our last video.
Imagine this going up against one of the lists we did last time, Craig Brown's Japanese with 3 snipers. That would be 5 snipers on the table.
It's not my department, thankfully. I don't think they met. So, but yeah, like the anti-tank rifles. Yeah,
and then the BA-20, I am a fan of BA-20. It's very, very cheap for what it actually brings to the table, and it can kill most things, but it is difficult to use, and it has limited range. And it's, I mean, you shouldn't just run it up against anything with the anti-tank capability because it's only 7+. It will die. And of course, it will run out in the most inopportune moments of the game.
Of course. I think, other than the omission of the Storm Squad groups, this selector makes the best use of what it's got.
It does.
And I think James should be able to hold his head up high for finishing 5th.
Yeah, that's a really good result for something that's so light on anti-tank. It's a really good result. I think he must have used his artillery strikes very cleverly to pin out enemy tanks. Yeah, and made good use of all his SMGs because there's a lot in this army list. Right.
Fair play to James. Well done.
Very well done. So that was our first list.
Who's next? Phil Mason.
Yeah, let me just don't do this.
You got Phil's?
Yeah, just a sec. I'm trying to get this to.
We'll have a polite intermission and drink some wine.
Why are you drinking wine? You're Scottish. You should be drinking whiskey, shouldn't you?
It was my birthday on the weekend. I drank a lot of whiskey, so I'm now drinking just some nice red wine.
Nice.
It is a weeknight.
Yeah.
Can't get too drunk. So anyway, back at the Batcave for that intermission. Phil Mason. Right. Now Phil finished 4th.
A Soviet army from Manchuria, 1945, from Empire in Flames.
That's right. So Empire in Flames is a book, and we're reading from page 26. So he Soviet Army Manchuria in 1945. So it's the back end of World War II. And Empire in Flames, I think, as we've discussed in previous videos or maybe in the past, it's a version 1 book. So it's written a long time ago. I could actually look in the back. A long time ago. So his required minimum requirements for the selector. It just says one officer.
Okay,
That's all it says, one officer.
that's cheap.
Yep.
Yep.
2 infantry squads, so an LMG squad, SMG squad, a veteran squad, tank rider squad, assault engineer squad, naval squad or airborne squad, and then additional HQ being a 0 to 1 captain or major, 0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 forward artillery or air observer. Then infantry, 0 to 4 infantry squads, LMG squad, SMG squad, veteran squad, tank rider squad, assault engineers, naval squad, scout squad, airborne squad. You like this one, 0 to 1 Mongolian cavalry troop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
0 to 1 machine gun team, 0 to 1 heavy machine gun team, 0 to 1 mortar of any flavor he likes.
Yep.
0 to 1 sniper, 0 to 1 flamethrower team, 0 to 1 anti-tank team. Then artillery pieces, it's got options on everything,
Yeah.
light, medium, heavy, etc., etc. Armored car, 0 to 1, BA 64, 64B, 64D, whatever that is.
No, I don't know.
Piece of rubbish.
Possibly.
Then 0 to 1 tanks, T60, T70, T34, IS2, IS3, SU85, ISU 122, SU 76, SU 100, SU 152, and the Katusha. So all like top end like war stuff there.
All the trimmings.
And then
right.
transports, Jeep truck. This is funny when it just says half track truck. I love these old books. The Komsomole and the artillery tractor. So
that's a good selection. Does it have any quirky special rules?
No, look, being a first edition book,
Yeah,
it's quite old.
Free of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a selection which lives off the good units that is in it, not the special rules. And if we look at what he's brought here, he's brought 17 order dice. So at the top end, 1250.
Yep.
On the point, he's bringing a tax lieutenant, inexperienced, 35 points. Assault engineers. These are the 5-man squads with a flamethrower, submachine guns, and Panzerfausts. Pretty good kill units for me, these units. He's bringing a forward artillery observer, veteran. That's expensive.
Yep.
And another assault engineer unit without the Panzerfausts. I guess he needed those points. Couldn't find them. Free rifle squad, a sniper team, veteran. Dog mine teams, veteran. Oh man, 3 dog mine teams, veteran. With submachine guns. Nice. Heavy howitzer was a spotter, veteran. Artillery tractor, veteran. I'm sensing a theme here. Gas jeep with pintle-mounted MMG, veteran. T-34, regular. Oh, why? And triple trucks with MMGs to stick all those engineers into. Although he doesn't need them to be 12-man because he hasn't got that many. But I'm guessing that he stuck some of his dog mines into the trucks as well.
Potentially.
So, right, that is the army list. What do we think?
Well, Phil finished 4th, and he won all 3 of his games. He was only one of 2 players that won all 3 of his games. But as we discussed, I think in the first part of this trilogy, winning wasn't enough. It was the achievement of getting your battle points. So Phil won his first game with 6 battle points. So that was he got the 5 points plus a bonus. So he must have kept his lieutenant alive. Then his second game is 7 points. So potentially that is the 5-point win and maybe the secondary, or if he, kept his lieutenant alive, killed his opponents, that would be 2 points. And then his third game is a 6-point win again. So, only getting 1 extra point. So
he lost out on a few of those extra points.
I don't see anywhere really in those results where he got the secondary objective. And that's what we're going to see in that he is so light on infantry. the engineers are very killy, as you
Yeah.
say quite often in your channel. But once they've killed, they'll get killed in return.
They typically will, because they're stuck like right next to an enemy, and the enemy is vengeful because you just murdered something of his, and he wants that unit to go away.
Yep.
So typically they'll die.
So yeah, out for blood. So
Yeah.
good for winning games, and as we've discussed, the games were key positions, meeting engagement, and sectors. So the list has the ability to win games, but
Does
it almost feels like it exhausts itself to win, and
Yeah.
it cannot then back itself up by getting the secondary objective. And as Phil's taken a cheaper lieutenant as a tax, that's a weak battle point to lose.
It is. And the
Especially if
dog
it's got
teams also, even though they're veteran, they're just two-man. They're not special in that regard. Once they fire the dogs, if you're up against a Darker Steward, it, it will kill you.
Well, thankfully Phil didn't have to worry about that because there were no Dagger
There
Stewards.
were no Darker Stewards, I noticed, yeah. But still, you might run into like other stuff that easily could kill that, right?
When you're looking at what you would change, I would ditch the trucks and I would take Bren carriers, regular Bren carriers, because he has the option on them because the Comsomelettes are part of the transport section. And whenever you see them, you can replace them with Bren carriers as part of the rule book. So,
and because you have 5-man engineers, there's no reason not to take the brain carrier because that's a 5-man capacity anyway.
Precisely. And it also means that you're exchanging a soft skin unit for an armored unit, so it adds that little bit more survivability. Granted, it withdraws the distance. I mean, wheeled vehicles 12 inches is really great. But I think for a survivability thing, I would have gone Bren carrier. Actually, maybe 2 Bren carriers and left one of the trucks. Just
to have that reach.
Just to have the reach, but when you need to move multiple small units quickly, like in a mission like sectors, having a truck full of dogs and your officer to be well hidden and then quickly
that would be
whip around.
beneficial.
Yep.
Let's just remember though that the brain carriers are possibly more expensive than the trucks are. So he's going to have to shave some points somewhere.
Oh yeah, because a regular brain carrier is 70 points.
Yeah. So he'll have to shave a few points, but not many.
Yeah, well, you can find that quite easily by reducing the other veteran truck down to inexperienced. The heavy howitzer doesn't need to be veteran. Does it really need to be veteran? What's the artillery tractor he's got? Where's that?
Veteran again. You could also shave a few points
be
there.
Veteran. There's a handful. There's a handful of points there, and he actually has to. Well, as per the FAQ, he doesn't have to take the artillery tractor because heavy artillery pieces get to move on a free move.
But that would mean that he lost the one order dice, so he might not want to do that.
You could go and pick up. What we're doing is taking those points and making it somewhere else. But look, we have to acknowledge that he won all 3 of his games.
He did. And this is a good list. This is a really good list. We've seen lists like this before, right? It's sort of a barbecue list with a lot of different options for supporting it. It's really good.
And the only reason he wasn't on the top tables was because of the battle points scoring system. But again, though, that was all open to everybody to view. And Phil personally yourself.
Yes,
you've seen him
play. I've played him multiple times, and he is a really good Soviet player. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, he's got the skills.
He does.
And so on any other tournament, 3 wins would have seen him first or second in a one-day event.
It would. Yeah.
And it's just a quirk of the scoring system that I wrote. Sorry.
Well,
not sorry.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Right. So as I said, I think this list exhausted itself to win the mission and couldn't back up the secondary stuff. So but congratulations, Phil. You were one of only 2 players to win all 3 of your games. So
so well done. And then we have I'm not sure who this is. It's the 8th Army in Sicily.
Yep, this is Brian Forrester,
Brian Forrester.
Another stalwart of the Scottish bolt action community.
Yeah.
So 8th Army Reinforced Platoon from Sicily. So this is page 146 of Soft Underbelly.
Right.
So what you're going to notice is that myself and Bo were talking about 5 different lists here, 5 different campaign books.
Yep.
So every list is drastically different from the one before, which is
Yes.
excellent.
It is.
But so what we'll go into is the 8th Army. Far out. Right, there's a lot of reading here. Anyway,
Yeah.
so his minimum requirements: lieutenant, first or second. He could have made them a Highland officer. 2 infantry squads. So regular, mid to late. Could be veteran, early to mid. And he could also have Irish infantry sections or Canadian infantry sections.
Yep.
Additional HQ. 0 to 1, captain or major. They may have been a Highland officer. And he also had the option on a special character, a Major Paul Triquet. Sorry if I butchered that name, Paul. 0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 forward observer, either artillery, air, or naval. 0 to 1 intelligence officer. Then 0 to 4 infantry sections. So look, it's either regular or veteran infantry sections, Canadian or Irish infantry sections, maximum of 2 Royal Engineer sections. Then he's got options on different commando units, Reese Corps assault troop units, and Royal Canadian Engineer sections. So it's quite busy. You need to understand the different units and what options you had.
Yeah, that's a lot of difference there. Yeah.
Yep. 0 to 2 medium machine gun teams, 0 to 2 mortars of whatever flavour you would like, 0 to 1 sniper team, 0 to 1 flamethrower team, 0 to 1 Piat team, artillery pieces, 0 to 2. Pretty much of any flavour that you want, light, medium, heavy, 6-pounder, 17-pounder, a Bofors AA gun, etc. So some good options there. Armoured car, 0 to 1. Look, they're not that great. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the Staghound isn't there as a choice. So
Sucks. No reason
it
to go
sucks.
down that road.
No reason to pick one.
No.
Tanks, 0 to 1. He's got a couple of different Stuarts, but they're all the mid-late war Stuarts, so no Daka Stuart for you.
Yep.
And then just a regular selection of transports. What I do have to highlight, though, is in his transport section, the Universal Bren carriers, it's the late war version, which comes from this book.
Yep.
And it clearly states if you buy the Pintle mount LMG, it becomes an armored car and loses its transportability. So
he can't take the Pintle mounted LMG.
Can't do it.
No. Which he doesn't. Right. So what did he take? He took 17 order dice. He took the second lieutenant, inexperienced. He paid the tax with an extra dude. Then he took 2 veteran infantry sections with double submachine gun and then rifles for 6 men. So 8-man sections. I like 8-man sections for veteran. I really do. And then he had a regular observer with an extra man, the free observer. And then he had 4 commando sections of 5 men each, with a lot of special rules.
Yeah.
And Up and Atom as a special rule as well. So they're really good for assaulting.
Yep.
They have submachine guns, all of them. So they're tough fighters.
It's worth highlighting here that Up and Atom, that's a unit special rule, and he got to combine that
with an army special rule as well.
With the army special rule, which was is it blood curdling charge when you...
It is blood curdling charge. So, you can't shoot at him when he charges you.
Oh no, what's the one where you automatically charge?
That is Up and Atom. That is
Up and Atom. Yep. So yeah.
That is the auto charge. So he charges every time, and you can't shoot at him when he does so, unless you're on an ambush. But yeah.
That was
so that's a pretty good combo for these commandos. Although I will say that for me they're not really charge units. Because they're 5-man units, so they're not like great close combat troops. I think you need a bit more bodies in a close combat unit.
It's okay to say they're not Gurkhas, Bo. It's okay
Yeah,
to say.
they're not Gurkhas, right? But they're not Soviet naval squads either, right?
True. Yeah.
So I think you need more bodies if you want to go full assault. But that combination of an atom and blood curdling charge is really good. Double medium mortars with spotters.
Good stuff.
Sniper team.
Veteran sniper team. Good choice.
Yeah, veteran. And double artillery, regular howitzers, medium
2
howitzers.
medium howitzers. Yeah.
With spotters, all of it. So he has a lot of eyes out, and he can basically hit everything. And he has 4 universal carriers to bring his commandos forward. So for me, I think that the way this plays is that he lies in his gun line, shoots a lot out, and then as soon as he wants to counterpunch, he pushes all the brain carriers out.
Yep.
Gets out with the commandos, shoots the enemy, and then assaults with every single unit all at once. The veteran infantry pushes up behind the brain carriers, I think. This is a really, really good list.
Yeah. Look, there's nothing I would change about the list.
Nope.
It's a good list. Brian had 2 wins and a draw. His first win was 8 points. His second win was 9 points. And then he got a draw in the last round on the top table, and he only got 4 points. So
he was close to actually finishing.
He was within touching distance
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's for competitive players that are playing with theatre selectors, and I'm going to reiterate again, single theatre selectors, I truly believe, only work well at 1250 points, because it gives you the extra points to utilize the extra options that these all give you. You know, the 0 to 2 artillery pieces, the 0 to 2 tanks that you find in other selectors. And because the tanks are good tanks, they're not just your Daka Stewart for 130 points. They're good tanks you have to invest in, so you need the points.
Yeah.
If there are players out there that are playing in this format, this is a great selector with good list.
It is.
Utilizing.
One thing I will say is that this list, like the one we looked at before, doesn't have much of it in the way of anti-tank capabilities. It has the howitzers, which can shoot directly, and it has the forward observer, which can put pins on tanks, but that's it. There are no bazookas here. There are no Piats. There is, no flamethrowers. Nothing that can really take out a tank. So Brian must really know what he's doing here.
I think Brian managed to navigate his way quite well through the tournament, because I know that he played a German player with a Panther in the first round.
Yeah.
And I think he had the luxury of being able to ignore it and kill everything else.
Yeah.
I know that in round 2, if you recall in the last video, he played Craig Brown.
Yeah,
so
he did.
Craig had he only had 1 small armor piece and lots of infantry, and this list loves killing infantry.
Perfect against infantry.
Yeah, howitzers and mortars.
Yeah.
Loves killing regular infantry.
Yeah, and lots of SMGs just gunning them down. Yeah.
So I'm sure that's why Craig had a big loss in the second round, and then in his third round, well, we'll discuss that when we come to another list soon.
Right. So, and then we have Graham Thompson, who came second.
Yep. So
and
Graham,
he was bringing a British Canadian D-Day off the beaches.
Yep. So D-Day off the beaches is from campaign D-Day Overlord, and you're looking at page 164. For the record, this was one of my first choices of theatre selector, should I have been required to play. So he had options.
Really strong.
It's a good selector.
Yeah.
So he had options on a first or second lieutenant, and then regular infantry, veteran infantry, or commando or parachute subsections as his minimum requirements. Additional HQ, 0 to 1 captain or major, And then he also had options on, I think there's at least 3 special characters. 0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 forward observer, either naval, artillery, or air. Then it's 0 to 4 infantry sections, so regular or veteran, commando, paratroop, a maximum of 2 airborne Royal Engineer sections and pioneer sections. 0 to 1 medium machine gun team, 0 to 1 mortar, light, medium, or heavy, 0 to 1 flamethrower team, 0 to 1 anti-tank team, specifically just the PIA,
Yep.
0 to 1 sniper, 0 to 1 artillery, 0 to 1 armored car, and the Staghound is not there, but the British
Well,
Airborne Reese Jeep is.
yes, which
Yep.
is even better because it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Then 0 to 2 tanks.
Mhm.
And look, there's a lot of options in there, being D-Day off the beaches.
Yep.
So the Tetrarch, Cruiser, Centaur, Churchill, AVRE, the Mark IV Churchill Crocodile, Sherman 5, Sherman Firefly, M10 Wolverine, M7 Priest, Sexton, Machine Gun Carrier, Sherman Dozer, D-Day Sherman, the Sherman Crab with the flail tank. So they were all lined up. And then just the standard selection of transports and tows, Bren Carrier, Jeep, utility car, half-track, 3-ton truck, quad tractor, and a Terrapin amphibious truck, if you really had the need for it.
No need for that.
Yep.
Right, this is a lovely selector. I really like it. There's a lot
Yep.
of good stuff here. What he did bring was 16 ordinance, 1250 on the dot. He had a second lieutenant regular with an extra man. He had paratroop sections, and he had 3 of those. The first 2 had 1 rifleman and 4 submachine guns. And then the last one had 5 rifles. Then he had the free forward observer with an extra man. He had a airborne Royal Engineer section, veteran, with a flamethrower, 2 submachine guns, 2 riflemen, a medium mortar with a spotter, a flamethrower team, regular, a sniper team, regular, the British Airborne Reese Jeep, which we already talked about. I really love these Reese Jeeps. They're absolutely amazing. And 2 Sherman 5s, 205 points, regular, both of them. They're pretty good. That 205 points when you have that specific setup that you have in your pack. I like these. And then Bren carriers, 3 Bren carriers with the pintle-mounted LMG, which does not make it an armored car in this selector. And then a Jeep for the flamethrower, veteran, 25 points. That's the list. I can see Graham in this. It reminds me of other lists I've seen from him.
Yeah, it really plays to his strengths,
Yes, it does.
and the model collection that he has.
Yes.
For his record, so he finished second overall. He won. He was the only other player to win all 3 of his games, and he had a big win at the start, 9 points. Then he had an 8-point win in round 2. Then he had a 6-point win in round 3. So it's a win, but it was only the 5 points plus a 1 bonus point, so he's missed out on everything else.
Yep.
And that last round he played James Hurst and
Okay.
his Soviet army that we've already discussed.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the conflict that would have gone on there between these British paratroopers and these.
Yeah, the Soviets, both of them want to get close, and that
Yep.
would have been nasty.
Yep. That would have been very, very close combat orientated and quite brutal.
Yeah.
I would love to have sat in on that game more than I actually had the chance to. Look, you're going to ask me what I would change about his list.
And you're going to say nothing.
Well, I wrote a list based upon this selector for myself.
Yeah.
I took the 2 Shermans. I took the Jeep.
Yeah.
but I didn't take paratroop sections.
Nope.
I maxed out on the engineer sections.
Yeah.
So I only had 2 Bren carriers. I look, I went for a different play style with the selector. I wanted more backline troops, so
Yeah.
I believe I took sort of a couple of regular units of 7 guys just with rifles, just basic troopers to hold the
Yeah.
back line.
Yeah.
So, but look, there's things that he could have upgraded the artillery observer to a naval observer, should he
You
have felt the
could,
need
but
to. But look, he
you don't need
what
to. Yeah.
no, what Graham's done here is he's found a selector that played to his strengths and he's
It
ran
did.
with it.
Yeah.
So he
And his
didn't have.
strength is those small units that he can throw up. They can submachine gun you to bits, and then he can assault, or he can use the flamethrower. And he has a combination of these units with the flamethrower here and the flamethrower in the Jeep. So he has different tools. He has a lot of different tools on this list.
Yep.
Both mortar, sniper, and the armored car. Everything is good and different. And then the 2 9+ tanks to round it all off in an armored push. I really like what he's done here.
Again, for those players that are playing competitively, this is another fantastic highlight why 1250 points for a theatre selector is required to get those 2 Shermans in to make the maximum out of the infantry options. For Graham, he shouldn't change this list at all. He should just turn up and do the same again. He won all 3 of his games.
Yes.
But I think the deficiency came in that last round where he faced another army that wanted to do exactly what he wanted to do, which was fight in close combat. And there was no tiebreaker skill. There were no Gurkhas that were halving your attacks. Everything was tough fighter. There were a few flamethrowers around for both sides. So it would have been just a meat grinder of dice.
Yes, and then it's just down to who has the most luck with those dice and who ends up on top of that melee. Yeah.
And if I remember as well, James got 4 points for that loss. So it looks like he must have claimed the secondary objective.
He must have.
And that would have been down to perhaps the raw number of infantry he had with this. He had the forward deploying scouts and stuff like that. Whereas Graham's limited with all these little 5-men squads. But still a good list and a great selector. One of my favorites.
Perfect list. Now here we come for the big reveal, and this one is.
Oh no!
I've been waiting for this one. It is a German army that actually won a tournament. This is the best thing in weeks for me. Right.
So
Andrew McKay, the ruling Scottish champion, had brought the 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers.
So
tell us about the selection.
The 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers is a selector from the US D-Day US sectors book. And it starts on page 146 and goes on to page 147 of that book. So 17th SS Panzer Grenadier Platoon. Nobody's going to believe this. So minimum requirements are a Waffen-SS Lieutenant Late War, first or second, and 2 infantry squads Waffen-SS Late War. Additional units, 0 to 1 Waffen-SS, Captain or Major, 0 to 1 Medic, 0 to 1 Artillery Observer, either Artillery or Air, 0 to 4 Infantry squads, Waffen-SS Late War, Fallschirmjäger Late War, and a maximum of 1 Waffen-SS Pioneer squad Late War. 0 to 1 machine gun, 0 to 1 medium or heavy mortar, 0 to 1 flamethrower team, 0 to 2 Panzerschrecks, 0 to 1 sniper. Artillery is 0 to 1, light, medium, or Nebelwerfer, plus a couple of different anti-aircraft options. Armored car, 0 to 1. It's either the Kubelwagen, the Schwimmwagen, or the SDKF 222, or the 8-Rad. Tanks is 0 to 2 tanks, but he's only got options on the Stug 3, Panzerwerfer 42, SDKF 71, Opel Blitz, Flak 38, the Wirbelwind or the Flak Panzer. So, not the greatest.
Well, there are some good choices there, and he wins.
There are
with...
some good. There are some choices, but there's a few risky ones.
Yeah.
And then transport is just your standard truck, Kugelwagen, Schwimmwagen, couple of different half tracks.
Yeah.
Special rules though for the platoon, for the selector. Waffen SS platoon, any unit in this selector with the exception of the Fallschirmjäger can be upgraded to Fanatic for 3 points per model. And this is a good one, hedgerow ambush.
Yeah.
Any infantry squad or headquarters squad unit may be upgraded for +3 points per man. Any medium machine gun, Panzerschreck team, or anti-tank gun may be upgraded for 10 points. No flamethrowers can get it though. Units with this rule may deploy in the same manner as observers and snipers. However, they must be deployed in cover. In addition, the unit starts any game hidden and can be in ambush already. That's pretty cool.
That is very, very cool. And especially because you get something that you don't usually see. You can push up units that you don't usually see deploy like forward deployers, and they can start on that ambush. That is amazingly cool. And I hope he used it really well, which I'm guessing he did, knowing Andrew. Right, let's look at what he actually brought. He brought the Waffen SS second lieutenant with an extra infantry model, inexperienced, because you can. It's the only inexperienced lieutenant you can get as Germans. Then he had Waffen SS infantry units, veteran. 2 of those, they are exactly the same. He had 4 rifles and 3 assault rifles. 3 rifles, 4 assault rifles, 1 Panzerfaust, fanatics. So that is very, very strong units, but they are expensive.
With those units, the way they're formatted with rifles and assault rifles, if we think to part 2 of our trilogy, when we were talking to Billy and a few other German players, this is the setup.
That is the setup that you want to go with. I think you could have gone maybe even double Panzerfausts if you had transport for these units, but otherwise a single Panzerfaust is quite enough. They're very, very good, very strong units, but they are expensive. But that's the beauty of 1250, right? Because you have the points. Hedgerow ambush. And he's brought that for 7 models, which I'm guessing is not these models we see here.
That would be this squad.
Then he had a Waffen SS Pioneers with 2 rifles, 4 submachine guns, 1 flamethrower, and double Panzerfaust. And then a Waffen SS Late War inexperienced squad, which had 6 rifles and a Panzerfaust. So this, again, referring to our second video, we also talked about maybe buying some cheaper troops as some of your troop choices. This is a cheap troop choice that can perfectly well hold down back lines. And because they have the Panzerfaust, they can even scare away enemy armor that comes knocking, right? A heavy mortar, inexperienced. That's pretty good as well, 46 points. A flamethrower team, regular. Sniper team, veteran. Doesn't need to be veteran, not necessarily, but it does make it more survivable. And a Nebelwerfer, veteran. I don't understand why he bought the Nebelwerfer veteran though, but okay. It makes it more survivable. And then, and this is the really big thing. Double Stug 3s aus GH.
Yep.
Which is the forward-facing heavy anti-tank gun and the vehicle-mounted 360 machine gun.
Yeah.
And then a truck for the engineers and a Kugelwagen for the flamethrower.
Yep.
Man, how did he win that tournament?
What a legend!
What an absolute legend! This is just he's so cool. I mean,
because when you think about all the advice you give, and have given about the Megatron 3000 lists, if you'd have seen a German list with 13 order dice, you would have been twitching. to
Yeah.
say no.
Yeah.
But
Don't.
you look
Don't,
you
don't
look at one of those first SS squads. They've got the hedgerow ambush.
Yeah.
So you've got a proper assault squad
We
up
do.
close, like a real one, not like your little scout squads that the
Oh no.
Soviets had.
They're
These
straight
guys,
into your face.
yep,
7-men veterans with
yeah,
assault rifles and a
with
Panzerfaust.
fanatic, with
And the
fanatic.
fanatics. Yeah.
So they're going to hammer you really quick, and they can act as a sweeper for that veteran sniper.
They can.
Uh,
Or they can go and hunt that one enemy heavy tank and just Panzerfaust it out, or that one unit that you know is going to be clutch later in the game. Just
yeah,
throw everything, charge it. I mean,
yeah. And again, thinking back to the format, the twin Stugs with I'm pretty sure they've got the heavy anti-tank gun.
they
Do they
do.
not?
Yeah,
So the format being that you're going to be encountering, predominantly medium and heavy armor,
yeah.
you need to have the counter for that
And Andrew
twin
did.
twin
Yeah.
Stug, twin heavy anti-tank gun. Yep, you're going to
Yep.
sort it out.
Yeah.
And then if he really is in a pinch, he can spit out a 2-inch
Yeah.
template to kill infantry. So yeah, that's really good. And then back that up, Andrew's a quality player.
Yep.
Yes.
And
I
he knows his Germans. He won the Scottish Nationals with the German army. I
mhm.
mean, he knows what he's doing. It's just it's running counter to everything that we think we know about meta, which is
Well,
it's
yeah,
so amazing.
because the next
It's so
part is
good.
you're going to ask me what I would change about this list.
Yeah,
I
what
would
would you change?
I wouldn't take it. It's
No,
not me.
me neither. Me neither.
I wouldn't even look at this list.
Nope.
I wouldn't even look at this theater selector as an option for me because um, it doesn't give me the flexibility that I like.
Nope.
So he's really found a niche thing for him.
But I have to say that we've been looking at this selector as well, just because of that hedgerow ambush, and you can do some spectacular stuff with it. But there is a danger here, and that is that you're pushing your army so close to the enemy that you lose it quite early. Yes, you'll do that one ambush that absolutely murders something, but then you lose that unit. So there is a danger here. There's a danger of overcommitting, and I think Andrew's been really clever. He's not overcommitted. He isn't buying hedgerow ambush for everything. He is pushing one unit up specifically to deal with one enemy target, and he
Yeah,
kills it, and then he has the rest of his army.
and he's also not been drawn in by the invite of Hedgerow Ambush when you can
Yeah,
buy it for a Panzerschreck team for
yeah,
10 points. But that
exactly.
then means you've bought a Panzerschreck team.
Yeah,
And you've
exactly.
also got the 0 to 2. So do you buy it twice? Do you have two of those in Hedgerow Ambush? Well, the answer is
No,
no.
no, no, you don't.
Um, so yeah. But look, the quirk is though for Andrew,
Yeah.
he won his first game 9 points.
Hmm?
He won his second game 9 points, and then he
Cool.
got a draw off the top table 6 points, and he won the event by 1.
1 point. Oh,
And
that must have stung for someone. Yeah.
I know though from being there at the very end,
Yeah.
he only just it was only just a draw, and it was his opponent that managed to win the draw. As I've said, his opponent was Brian Forrester,
Yeah.
and I believe it was one of the last order dice. Brian got to move a unit to contest an objective
Yeah.
because it was key positions at the end, and got that draw, and actually
Oh,
got that draw away
oh,
from Andy. So, it,
oh.
yep,
Right.
the
That
player made
is
the
amazing.
difference.
Yeah.
So,
But there is one thing I would change. If it was me, we have to say this, okay?
yeah,
I would not run the Stooks. For me, that having one shot on such an expensive tank platform, it becomes too expensive for me. I think I would have gone with. You mentioned the Kugelblitz, which is also an expensive tank, but it's in the same range. Um, I think I would have gone with some of the other stuff. You might have wanted one Stuck, might. So I really want to ask Andrew to come and explain the choice of those double Stucks.
He'll just laugh at you. He'll just laugh
He
at you and
will.
say it was for fun.
Yeah.
Um,
And the results speak for themselves. Okay, Andrew,
They do.
okay.
They do. But, for people that have watched this trilogy, I appreciate, the time you've given me on your channel to talk about the Megatron 3000. It was a concept that I wanted to do for my own community, just so they could have some enjoyment. But it's something that I think has captured people's imaginations around the bolt action community, the globe of the bolt action community. I've had communications with Australia, the Netherlands, Denmark, England, United States, all asking questions about this, and South Africa as well.
Yeah.
So I hope people can run with it. But I think it truly comes down to single theatre selector, the points available, and just the limitations of the 18 order. I think it's all worked in synergy well, so people have to take that into consideration. But as I said before, I'm running the same pack again next year. It will be in August sometime in Stirling at Common Ground Games, and everybody is welcome to come along.
That will be amazing. Right. I look so much forward to hearing about how it went next time, and maybe even attending myself if I can scrape together the money for it. So
Fingers
thank you so
crossed.
much for telling us all about this, Alistair,
Thank you.
and congratulations on an amazing event. This has
Cheers.
been very enjoyable, and I've really enjoyed because this has really pushed everything we know about the meta. Everything has changed because of your pack. That is really great.
Yep. Well, there's
Right.
2 Stugs that have got gold medals around their neck, so
Yes.
yeah.
What's not to love? What
I
will
didn't
happen next? The madness.
I didn't know anybody in the world of bolt action, competitive bolt action, owned 2 Stugs,
No.
but they do. Okay. Until next
That's
time,
brilliant.
Bo. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.